This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Friday, the real Friday, August 5th, and today's pod is the best one yet. TBOY, Jack.
Going to a minor league baseball game tonight, Nick, which good, clean family fun.
It is good, clean family fun.
Popcorn, hot dogs, mediocre athletes.
And they're probably going to have a mascot who scares you.
You'll love the t-shirt bazooka, too.
Jack, get me a medium, and what's the first story for today's T-Boy?
Starbucks sales are higher than ever, thanks to ice.
If you're 19 years old, you're ordering an absurdly complicated cold beverage.
For our second story, TikTok noticed a funny thing you do on TikTok. You listen to music.
So TikTok just trademarked the words TikTok music.
For our third and final story, Ford just announced their July sales, and the Ford Bronco, was the standout winner.
Hide your kids, hide your Jeeps. That new Ford Bronco, it's a Jeep killer.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix.
But seriously, if you have a Jeep, put that thing in the garage immediately.
You know that feeling when you accidentally delete something really important?
Jack, you know that feeling when you leave your wallet in a taxi?
Or that feeling when you accidentally throw away $181 million worth of Bitcoin?
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
Well, a dude named James Howells can relate.
He can, and he does, because that British man had a whole bunch of Bitcoin on a hard drive back in 2013.
But he was doing some spring cleaning and accidentally tossed that hard drive in the trash.
Well, now that crypto has boomed since then, turns out a great fortune was sitting on his desk in that hard drive.
And now that hard drive sits at the bottom of a landfill in southern Wales.
All right, Jack and I did the math. It's about $200 million of bloody Bitcoin resting among the rubbish.
Get this. James is not just going to let Ben the Bitcoin get away.
No, he's not. James is organizing a search and rescue for that buried treasure.
James just raised $11 million in venture capital funding to pay for a giant Bitcoin search party.
Because, Jack, he's got to buy some shovels, got to buy some diggers, and then got to buy more shovels.
And he's paying for machines that scan the trash for hard drives.
And then he's got to buy more shovels.
This is the first ever venture-backed crypto search and rescue excavation scheme.
And that means since James has raised external funding, he's accountable to the investors.
If they find this hard drive, which is no guarantee, James has promised to keep a third of the money for himself. A third of the money will go to the search and rescue team.
And a third of the money goes to the investors of Operation Crappy Crypto. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddy James, who's doing some digging?
One man's trash is that same man's treasure.
You got this, James. Or you may not have this.
You win some, you'll lose some.
Let's hit our three stories.
What's your favor's the brave?
15 years before this song, two boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Starbucks isn't taking a summer break. Starbucks is dishing out higher sales than ever.
And Starbucks is officially an iced coffee company.
Oh, Yetis, if you're in line right now for Starbucks, which based on the math we're doing, like a fourth of you are, you're going to want to talk to the barista about this.
Starbucks just reported record quarterly revenues. Sales jumped by 9% at Starbucks' 17,000 U.S. locations.
Yeah, they're sending out revenge spending vibes. You're walking back to work and you are sipping on something.
I'll make it a double.
But Yetis, there's one funny thing Jack and I noticed in these earnings. Those record revenues, they should come with a big thank you note from Outkast.
Because what's cooler than being cool?
Yeah, Jack?
Ice cold.
Get this. 75% of Starbucks' beverage sales last quarter, they were cold.
75% was cold.
And Jack, what was the star of this ice cold celebration over at Starbucks?
The cinnamon dolce iced latte.
Yeah, you have to ask. You can't afford the venti.
Oh, and you think it's just the summer record heat waves that cause so many cold beverages to be ordered?
We're not meteorologists, but that could not be more wrong.
Because 70% of the whole year's sales have been cold.
Ice cold drinks, they are dominating at Starbucks like never before. But there is one problem with the ice cold drinks.
With ice cold drinks comes surprisingly ice cold costs too.
Jack and I jumped in T-Boy style. It turns out ice is like literally really expensive.
Your venti salted caramel cream cold brew, it's like half ice. You know that.
Can you repeat that? Is that a real thing? That's a real thing?
The venti salted caramel
That's not even a drink. That's a paragraph. What's going on over there?
You might think that half of that paragraph is just frozen water, but Starbucks goes through so much ice every day, they need a whole storage room stock full of backup ice.
To quote Arnold Schwarzenegger in that one bad Batman movie, ice, chill out.
And that is one reason that despite the record revenues, profit actually fell last quarter for Starbucks.
The ice giveth and the ice taketh away.
To quote the Schwarzenegger, nevermore.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Starbucks?
Starbucks has bottled the flywheel effect.
Yetis, this is classic flywheel effect. When one thing drives another thing, which then drives the original thing.
Gen Z customers in particular are loving customized cold concoctions from Starbucks and then sharing pictures of it online.
Yeah, for example, that pineapple passion fruit refresher at Starbucks, it is Instagram candy. So after Kelly orders that drink, she's going to post it to her Instagram story.
Camille sees it on Instagram and then goes and orders one herself.
Well, according to Howard Schultz, who stepped in as the interim CEO, that is happening because of Gen Z.
He literally said that Gen Z is customizing, then posting, then ordering more, and then friends are coming in to order.
So cold beverages, they're Starbucks' highest priced product, and one sale of them is leading to another sale.
Classic flywheel effect, and Starbucks has bottled it.
Okay, Beyonce dropped an album. Shakira may be going to prison. We just referenced Outkast in a Starbucks story. Jack, what's going on in the music industry right now?
Well, Spotify reported earnings last week.
They did.
They were resilient.
They were resilient. How many people did they actually add to Spotify, Jack?
They already had 180 million paying for Spotify Premium, and they added 6 million more in the past 3 months.
They've also got a wild goal over at Spotify to hit 1 billion users by 2030.
That's double as many users as today, if you include the ad-supported ones.
But Jack and I were listening to these Spotify earnings, and we noticed there's one big problem with that big Spotify goal.
The big problem is Gen Z.
Yeah, because naturally, to get 1 billion users, Spotify is going to need the TikTok dance and karaoke generation. You kind of need them.
But standing between Spotify and teens on that dance floor,
yeah, Jack,
is TikTok.
Now, Yetis, when you think of TikTok, it is not just a social media app. You have to change your mind. TikTok drives the music industry.
If you look at the top charts, like the top music charts on Billboard or Spotify,
I never know where to find those.
It is chock full of viral TikTok songs.
Case in point, Olivia Rodrigo, her career took off thanks to TikTok.
No TikTok, no good for you.
And get this, Yetis, according to a survey, 2 out of 3 TikTok users go to a music streamer to find the song that they just heard on TikTok.
And TikTok's probably not thrilled that so many people are leaving the app because of music that they found on the app.
Okay, Jack, running up that hill, literally heard it on TikTok and then went over to Spotify.
So here's the news. TikTok quietly made a big, possibly huge move last week that should scare Spotify.
Very quietly, TikTok filed a trademark for the term TikTok music.
Picture this, Yetis, a music streamer built into the TikTok app.
Or Jack, maybe it's like right next to the TikTok app, like in your home screen.
A separate app.
Yeah, it could be a separate app.
But either way, it'll play all the music that you have liked while scrolling TikTok.
Here's the wildest part, besties. TikTok, it has more musical experience than you'd give it credit for.
ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, they already own a music streaming app that operates outside the US.
So Jack, looking at the situation here, this feels like a classic VH1 music video showdown. We got a rap battle going on in Studio 6.
Spotify versus TikTok music.
So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are a little flat over at TikTok?
In business, big friends often become enemies. So beware.
We've seen this many times before. A big tech company supports a smaller business and then it turns on it.
Facebook was really good for news publishers driving traffic.
They were.
And then the algorithm change hurt news publishers.
Amazon helped out all the retailer small businesses out there. And then Amazon Basics competed against them.
When one business friend is bigger than the other, that bigger friend often eventually turns on the smaller one.
Well, in this case, TikTok helped Spotify grow. It's been a friendly, lovely relationship.
TikTok is bigger than Spotify, and TikTok music could hurt Spotify big time.
Because in business, big friends can become bigger enemies.
Beware. Now, a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
Okay, so Jack and I got into the news business with our previous company, Markets Next.
Our goal was basically to democratize financial news for our generation.
Cut the jargon, talk about the profit puppies.
So when we first connected with Robinhood, There was a chemistry there.
We were doing for financial news what Robinhood was doing for the financial system.
Robinhood was democratizing finance for all, and it started by eliminating trading commissions and building a beautiful app.
Remember, we had the same color green, so
The green was destiny.
destiny, absolutely.
So we sold market snacks to Robinhood, and we launched Robinhood Snacks.
The equivalent of proposing, getting married, and building a family together in just 3 years.
Much more to come on why we're thrilled that Robinhood is our exclusive sponsor.
If you're not investing in Robinhood yet, to get started, you can go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and choose a free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY.
Certain limitations apply. For a list of other fees, view the fee schedule at rbnhd.co/fees.
All investments involve risk. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
By the way, Robinhood no longer affiliated with us or the podcast. For our third and final story before the weekend, we just got some sales numbers from Ford, but there is one stat that just totally stood out to Jack and me.
The brand new Ford Bronco, it's a Jeep killer.
Jack, can you hand me a monkey wrench and check the chassis on these Ford numbers for me? What's he looking like over there?
Yetis, Ford's new car sales jumped by 37% in July compared to the year before, and 11% of sales were all electric.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. We don't even care because there's just one Ford car that Jack and I are paying any attention to right now.
The Ford Bronco.
Oh, the Ford Bronco.
The bucking horse.
Oh, yeah. Because Yetis, the Ford Bronco, it is a classic SUV.
Besides that quick stint with the O.J. Simpson car chase,
Oh, yeah.
it's the Paul Newman of SUVs.
But the Ford Bronco, it has also got like a mysterious off-road edge.
So it's the Ryan Gosling of SUVs.
It is. And it was only made from 1965 until 1996. And honestly, Jack, do you want to share what our life goal is? We should tell the Yetis.
Get ourselves a refinished first edition Ford Bronco in our garage.
Okay, Jack and I look on these on Instagram a lot, and then we don't buy one.
We don't have a beach house, but we know what car we're going to get when we get a beach house.
Well, Yetis, after 25 years of no new Broncos, Ford finally brought the Bronco back to life just last year.
And one statistic was hidden in Ford's July sales numbers that revealed a big surprise to us.
That Ford Bronco, it's a Jeep killer.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, actually, Jack, I was just on Nantucket, and you know what the vibe was like throughout the island of Nantucket?
What was it?
If you don't have a Bronco, you can't come fishing with us.
Forget hot girl summer. It's big Bronc summer.
Yetis, Ford, they can't whip up these Broncos fast enough.
In July, Ford sold 3 times as many Ford Broncos as they did in last year's July.
And get this, in June, the average Bronco sold in 21 days.
That's the 9th fastest selling car overall in the United States right now.
But funny thing, Jack and I also noticed, Jeep is the official car of summer, traditionally.
The new Ford Bronco looks kind of like a Jeep,
It does?
but Jeep Wrangler sales are down 16% so far this year.
Now, full disclosure, Jack and I didn't drive onto a Hamptons beach to ask Bronco drivers if they switched from owning a Jeep.
But the data we're seeing seems clear. People aren't buying another Jeep. They're switching from a Jeep to a Bronco. And we have even more support because in a report last year, Ford said that 70% of Bronco sales are to people new to the Ford brand.
Ipso facto, 70% of these Bronco drivers weren't Ford drivers before, but they just bought a bucking new Bronco.
They're freaking Ford folk now.
It's got lasers coming out of its eyes. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Ford?
The Ford Bronco is bucking truck loyalty.
Yeah, these SUV and truck drivers, they are a loyal and passionate people.
They're committed to their brand like no other type of car driver is.
Yeah, the F-150 pickup truck, it isn't a car, it's a way of life.
Any industry insider will tell you that a Chevy truck driver is Chevy forever.
And that is what makes the Broncos breakthrough so shocking.
Forget the sales surge. It's that the surge is coming from people who are not Ford folk historically.
It appears that passionate Jeepers are switching allegiances.
It looks like the Bronco is bucking truck loyalty.
Jack, can you whip up some takeaways for us for the new Friday?
Starbucks sales are up on cold drinks, but their costs are up too.
Yeah, and Gen Z is spinning Starbucks flywheel.
For our second story, in a threat to Spotify, TikTok filed the trademark for TikTok music.
Because in business, bigger friends often turn against smaller friends.
Beware. For our third and final story, it looks like the Bronco might be a Jeep killer.
Yeah, because the Bronco may be bucking truck loyalty. Beware? No, beware. No, beware. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by legendary Yeti Savannah Westwood from lovely Orlando, Florida.
It turns out there's a place in England called Sandwich.
And it turns out that on August 6th, 1762, the first ever sandwich was created. At least one with such a name.
Because on that day, an English earl was gambling.
Yeah, he was. He was stressed, he was hungry, he was gambling. So he requested a dish involving meat between two slices of bread.
Might have been a ham and cheese. Might have been peanut butter and jelly.
Either way, that sandwich became a sandwich because that man was the Earl of Sandwich.
Happy 260th birthday to the Earl. Well, no, to the sandwich. Sorry. Just the sandwich.
You look great. You look great for 260.
Joey Triviani loves you.
Yetis, you looked fantastic all week long. And this weekend, if you're on the beach and you see Jack's in my dream car, we would love a picture of an old Ford Bronco.
First edition Ford Bronco. You'll know it when you see it. And if you're not sure if it's first edition, then it's not a first edition.
You look under the chassis.
We're going to mentally put it in the garage at the house we don't own on a beach yet.
Maybe ask about the price.
Nick and I, we'll see you Monday.
Beware.
Beware.
And before we go, happy birthday to Caitlin and Frankie Meatballs celebrating that birthday over in Brooklyn.
And happy birthday to Wayne Coe in Singapore.
And a happy birthday to Dominika Pribolova in Bratislava, Slovakia.
And happy birthday to Ben Enos in Nashville, Tennessee.
And Augusto in Verona, Wisconsin.
Happy 22nd to Jake Livingston in McLean, Virginia.
And Vinny Cheese in Hermosa, California.
Happy 31st to Anna Jane Jones, who's on a road trip over on the West Coast.
And Tien Jiao Han, happy birthday over in Boston.
Happy birthday to Kristen Scuderi in Nashville, Tennessee.
And Jimmy Schaefer is turning 41 in Denton, Texas.
And happy birthday to, this one's wild, Sophia and Jamia Davenport and Malia Broussard, who are all celebrating their birthday down in Houston.
And congrats to Ian and Teresa Fajardo. This weekend, they are getting married on Virginia Beach.
Congrats to Nittany Lions, Carly and Kyle, who are getting married in Philly.
Meanwhile, Jackie and Kelly Olink are getting married too over in Detroit.
Happy 5-year anniversary to John and Aaron Brooks in Santa Monica.
And Lester and Alyssa Johnson, happy 1-year anniversary on the Browning, Montana Blackfeet Reservation.
Happy anniversary to Brendan Ang and Alicia Leon in Melrose, Mass.
And Michael Savosky, enjoy that 100-year anniversary of Checker Motors.
And to anyone else who's celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon and Ford, and Nick and I both own stock of Spotify, Robinhood. We own some Bitcoin too.
And now a word about our sponsor, Robinhood.
Funny little thing about the Robinhood logo.
Okay, go look at it right now. Most people, you just see a feather. Robinhood's feather and a cap. Pretty classic.
But it also looks like something else.
If you look closer, you may see an arrow pointing up to the right.
Yeah, the Robinhood logo. Nice little Easter egg in there. It's not just a feather. It also symbolizes bullishness.
There's a little arrow in there. If markets are up or down, it's nice to be optimistic.
We always love that little detail in the Robinhood logo.
Honestly, it's all about the little things in life.
If you're not on Robinhood yet, want to get started, go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and choose your free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Certain limitations apply. All investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. By the way, Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or this podcast.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed the line, but the line I redid last night was
Stock.
and we both own shares of the stock. And Molly said, when I was in bed, because I did it right before bed because it was late, I literally was saying, and we both own shares of the stock. And we both own shares of the stock. And Molly literally did turn to me, I remember, and she was like, Nick, you're repeating the words again. I was like, oh my God, you're right. Before I recorded, I kept being like, we both own shares of the stock. We both own shares of the stock.